Line Graphs 3. In this nugget, the learning objective is to interpret and solve problems with line graphs. A line graph is a graph that represents data changing over time. The data points are connected by a line. This line graph shows temperature between 5 a.m. and 3 p.m. Before we can interpret information from a line graph, we need to make sure that we understand the difference between the x-axis and the y-axis. The x-axis is the horizontal axis, which here shows the time, and the y-axis is the vertical axis, which here shows the temperature. We can see from this graph that the values on the y-axis go below 0. Any value above 0 is positive, and any value below 0 is a negative temperature. Sometimes, when the y-axis ranges from negative to positive, the x-axis on the graph will go through 0. Let's look at a question now. What is the temperature at 5 a.m.? In order to answer this, we first need to find 5 a.m. on the x-axis. Then we look vertically up or down until we meet the line. From this point, we need to look back across the y-axis. This point is marked -5, so at 5 a.m. the temperature was -5 degrees C. Now let's look at this question. What was the difference in temperature between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m.? So we need to know what the temperature was at 6 a.m. first. At 6 a.m., the temperature was -4 degrees C, and the temperature at 2 p.m. was 3 degrees C. Now we need to find the difference between -4 and 3. -4 to 0 is 4, and 0 to 3 is 3. So the total difference between -4 and 3 is 7 degrees C. Now let's look at 2 more questions. This graph shows the height of a hot air balloon during a flight. The first question is, how long did it take for the balloon to reach a height of 400 meters? To answer this, we must find 400 meters on the y-axis and move horizontally until we meet the line. Then, when we meet the line, we move vertically down until we get to the x-axis and we see 25. So this shows it took 25 minutes for the balloon to reach 400 meters. Now let's look at another question. How long was the hot air balloon above 300 meters? First, we need to find 300 meters on the y-axis. If we follow this point along the x-axis, we can see that the line crosses the line at 2 points. Once when the balloon was going up and once on its way down. So this part of the graph shows the time at which the balloon was above 300 meters. If we follow the 2 points at which the line crosses 300 meters down to the x-axis, we can see that the balloon was above 300 meters between 15 and 45 minutes. To find the duration, we need to do 45 subtract 15, which is 30. So the balloon was above 300 meters for 30 minutes. Now it's your turn. The graph below shows the temperature of a freezer after it has been turned off. How long did it take for the temperature of the freezer to reach 5 degrees C? And how much did the temperature of the freezer increase by between 3 and 11 hours? Let's go through the answers. So the graph shows the temperature of the freezer warming up. To find how long it took for the temperature to reach 5 degrees C, you should have found 5 degrees C on the y-axis, followed it across to the line, and then down to the x-axis. Well done if you got the answer 5.5 hours. And to find out how much the temperature increased by between 3 and 11 hours, you should have found the temperature at 3 hours to be -10 degrees C, and the temperature at 11 hours to be 18 degrees C, and calculated the difference, which is 28 degrees. Remember, a line graph is a graph that represents data changing over time. The data points are collected by a line. Make sure you read the information from the correct axis.